National High-Power Rifle Champion, Mr. G. David Tubb.
My dad grew up in Canadian, and he had a dog. He said he and that dog could whip any other dog in town. I remember that was one of his jokes. My dad was a shooter. He came back from World War II, and he was a mortar platoon leader. He liked to shoot a couple of tracers where he wanted the guys in the mortar team to put their mortars, and came back and he started competitive shooting in the early 50s. He didn't really want to be, someone who ran a ranch, but I think he felt obligated to his dad to do that. I was born in 54. On the weekends when I got older, my dad would take me out and put me on a horse, and my brother also, and we'd feed cattle. On Saturdays and Sundays, we were working. We learned how to run tractors and work on equipment, how to cowboy. He took up shooting the across the course sort of position shooting, where you shot standing, sitting, rapid fire and prone rapid fire and slow fire prone. My mother was shooting a little bit, started in like 1960, 65. Summertime, you'd go on 3 or 4 trips a year, or 5 or 6. A lot of times they were weekend events, but you're riding down the car and you get to see the country. You either go to Ohio, or you went to New Mexico, or you went to Colorado. And I remember one time we went to Camp Perry, and they had a little gift certificate for a fine work bow air rifle for $100. So I got a fine work bow for $100. I come home in the afternoons or something and shoot a few shots with the offhand. So that was a very good training tool. You shoot indoor gallery league against other towns around here. We'd go shoot with them, or they'd come over and shoot with us. There were 30 shots, 10 standing, 10 kneeling, and 10 prone. So you learn about position rifle shooting. My brother's a year and a half younger than I was. So I started shooting before he did. And then, of course, he was involved in it. We had team matches, so we brought our own 4-person team. I graduated from TCU in 77, and then I lived down there till 81. I finished with a business management degree. I lived in Weatherford with the first wife and the 2 kids, and had a little business there, and I wholesaled some cars. Then that went away, and then I met my current wife, had a son and a daughter, and everything worked out. Soon I lived on the ranch, and then I evolved into the pipe business, the steel pipe business. Some of it was seconds. If you make 100,000 feet of pipe, there's 10,000 feet of it that's not good to go down a hole in an oil well, let's say. So that's where the corrals and the cattle guards and the fence rails and the hand guards and so on and so forth came from. At the same time, I was working on the development of the accuracy products. I didn't shoot for 6 or 7 years, I think it was. So then I said, well, let's go try. I'm going to try it again. I went back that year, and I'd shot a score that was about the same score I'd shot 7 years prior. And I said, well, maybe I got a chance. Just like I did with my father, they evolved into shooting with me. It made everybody shoot a couple of years, and then if they didn't want to shoot, they didn't have to do it anymore. I taught them, once again, kind of like the farm. You had to do preventative maintenance, grease the combine, or feed the cattle, or check on the windmill. And of course, when I made them start shooting, and I made them load their own ammo. Kids, oh, good, load our ammo. Well, I'm gonna load it now. I take them to the first match. They had problems at 200 because their ammo didn't go off. And here everybody is with their ammo box, pulling a case out, and they're going, trying to listen and see if there's powder in there. It was hilarious. It's a good experience. Learn from it. My daughter Christy made the shoot-off in the Wimbledon the first year, which was a really big deal. And my son Wyatt won the position shooting a scope on a rifle a time or two. It's really good to have your kids shoot well, because then you become a proud parent. They hit a home run, or scored a goal, same thing. My dad passed away in 1998, so I would have been, 44 years old, yeah. So now you've got to figure out if you want to run cattle. I inherited a place, but you got to make it work. Not everybody in the cattle business makes money. It changed a lot of stuff. changed the dynamics between my mother and myself a little. My brother and I weren't always seeing eye to eye on some stuff. But in the end, it's worked out, and we're all on the same page at this point. So.
David's father died very shockingly in January of 1998. It was a very difficult year. We were already still doing our packaging here at the house of all of our products. And he told me maybe springtime, because I want to build a building in town and I want to move everything to there. So that opened in December of 98. And I think that was his way of coping or having closure, because it was still so raw and so intense pain, that this was his way of healing himself, is to expand the business. And he had more ideas on how to produce parts and how to improve a rifle. It all was because of his dad.
Of course, today I still run cattle out there, and I don't farm anymore. And it's to the point now, I'm busy enough with Superior Shooting that I've got a guy that I partner with on the cattle, and so I own the property, but we make some money off the cows every year if the market's right. It's not always great. But the key is I got a place that I can go do some testing and evaluation and go shoot. It's very handy to have in your back pocket. I attribute my shooting success to the fact that I could go out and shoot, and I could come back and, okay, the barrel needs to be 2 inches shorter. I need a lighter gun, or knew how to operate all this equipment, that I could go affect a change and go test it the next day. Competitive high power requires you to do a lot of practice, to shoot standing, sitting, prone, iron sights, and I did that. I continue to do that, the prone portion of it. I evolved into some PRS stuff, shot some of those matches, and then I evolved into the extreme long range shooting. The cold bore stuff, where you walk out with no sighters and you hit the target 3 shots in a row at extreme distance. A sniper, he's only probably got 1 or 2 shots before his target disappears. Well, this one, is the concept is you want to hit it all 3 times, and that shows you that you really know any and all of the facets that are involved with extreme long range shooting. I was approached by a group from the military. They're pedigreed. They've been to sniper school, and they've learned everything that the military can teach them. And now they're out looking to gain more knowledge to help them stretch the distance out that they're able to successfully engage a target. Came down, and of course we showed them some stuff that they hadn't seen before, and it's an honor to be associated with them. I'm humbled because they've decided that they're going to dedicate their life to keeping the peace or to keep our freedom. My driving force is my quest to make something that's better. Down the rifle road, we did a rifle called the Tubb 2000. Rifleman and I did it, and it worked very well. So in about 2017, I came out with a rifle called a Tubb gun, and guess what? It has 17 years of design improvement. It's a better product. Any product that I make is something that I would pick off the shelf and go compete with. And that's what I want my consumer to have, is the best product that is available from my experiences, I suppose.